Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Aussie HD, and today we're going to be talking about all the accessories and extras I've put on this bike. Now my bike being the 2023 Lowrider S, and you can see it does have some extras added to it, and probably most notably will be the Harley Davidson quarter fairing, that's called. That's a factory item, comes colour coded in white sand pearl. It replaces the speed screen that is standard on the S model. This now gives you some great wind protection on the highway, doing 110 kilometers per hour, which is about equivalent to 70 miles per hour in American. And I've also fitted some hand guards. That's good, that helps deflect wind off your hands and a bit of weather, rain, bugs, rocks, whatever. So that makes a big difference, and that makes it really comfortable cruising on the highway. I bought this to be a little bit adventurous in riding, so I've set it up in that way. Hence I've got a more upright seating position, looking at the handlebars compared to the seat. I sit up nice and upright. I do have the crash bars here, and I like the mustache bars really because they're rounded rather than the straight bar. I did have a straight bar on the bottom before this, and I was a little bit worried leaning in corners. I was just a little bit psychologically, I guess, scared of that digging in, and that could have been quite nasty had that actually happened. So the rounded bars I think are much better, and if it were to fall over, let's say in a loose gravel dirt road or loose conditions, that's not going to dig in and throw you off the bike. So I do like that. There is some footrest position there, which in my case I can only just barely reach anyway, but for taller people that would be ideal as highway pegs to stretch the legs on a cruising trip. Now underneath, something you probably don't see very often is a skid plate. So I fitted a skid plate underneath this, and it is only a cheap Chinese one. It's very thin, 3mm, probably about just over an 1/8 thick aluminium. So it is aluminium, or in American that's aluminum. Very light, but certainly strong enough to deflect rocks and dirt and mud and all that sort of thing, and protects the wiring that's up underneath the bike there. So it's well worth it, I think. Now this does have the stage 1 kit in it as well. I've swapped out the original pod filter on the front there. Just bang your knee on it, and I didn't like it at all. So I've gone for the high flow Screaming Eagle air filter, and also you can see the 2-in-1 S&S Street Fighter system there. It does have a catalytic converter in it, and saying that, it's still not that quiet. It's certainly plenty loud enough for me. On top of that, for the stage 1 kit, we do have the Maximo tuner kit in it. So this bike has come with probably about a 10 or 15% over standard in the 117 motor. I've never ridden a standard 117. I've only ever ridden this bike. All this was fitted at the dealer when I picked it up. So I only know a 117 with a stage 1 kit. Don't know any different. So I can't say if a 114 is that much difference, or 117 standard is that much difference. I just don't know. I've added the dirt bike foot pegs. Being an adventure bike rider, got to have those. And I was thinking that I may get passengers on this bike, and it hasn't really happened yet. So it is set up for PM passenger. The Saddleman Explorer seat is super comfortable. It is really good. But saying that, I quite like the standard single seat anyway. However, that's there for the PM passengers. I did want a backrest as well to make the PM passengers feel more secure and comfortable on the back, having that backrest, plus a luggage rack added on there too. And the seat, $880 Australian. The backrest, the rack, somewhere around about, I think, and I get these off, got that gear off Amazon. So that was around about roughly $600 Australian in there, $600-700, something like that. So to put a passenger setup on this bike, the dual seat, Saddleman Explorer seat, the foot pegs down there, the backrest and a rack, which you don't have to have the rack, but the rack's there. That cost close to $1,500, maybe close to $2,000 including the pegs. So that, the stage 1 kit, the crash bars, now they were $500 Australian off Amazon, or close to it. This gear here we said was about 2,000. Now, the Harley Davidson quarter fairing, interesting one there. I do like to have factory parts, and saying that, the factory quarter fairing looks absolutely beautiful, at least in my opinion. I think it looks fantastic on the bike and it does a good job. It is set up as a quick release system, however mine is not quick release. I put some security brackets in behind there and they are a little bit fiddly to get off, and if I want to do any work behind the screen, it does take a little bit to get that screen off and out of the way. However, the screen itself you can buy direct from Harley for $1,000 Australian, but there is a mounting kit too, sorry, $1,100. Then I had to buy the mounting kit to go behind that. So when you buy the screen, you can't mount it on your bike until you buy the mounting kit. How unusual. Yeah, so the mounting kit, another $150 there. So by the time you fit this quarter fairing onto your bike, in Australia, that costs you $1,250. I've got the Memphis Shade handguards fitted on here, love those. The LED blinker lenses, they're a plug and play item, front and rear. They're fairly cheap off Amazon. They work brilliantly and they are really good. What else have we got? That's probably about all there. But you know what? Adding that up alone, that comes close to $7,000 Australian. So bought the bike for $32,500 here in Australia 12 months ago. Add on $7,000 and this bike owes me close to $40,000 Australian, as you see it right here. So right there, that in Australia is a $40,000 bike. Do I like it? What do I think of it? Well, absolutely brilliant on the highway cruising, and of course that's what they are, a cruiser bike. But it handles really well, and obviously it goes really well. There is tons of torque. It pulls hard. Really, really good bike. My previous bike was actually a Yamaha Tenere 700, would you believe? Very tall and top heavy bike, but that's in a whole nother story. This one obviously much lower, the seat height is 710mm, which I think is around about 32 inches. Very easy to manage. Now one thing I want to point out though, is when you do raise the handlebars up like this, and besides being able to sit up straighter, what this does is create leverage here. And the leverage gives you the ability to throw the bike left and right, side to side, flick it round the corners, makes it much lighter and more responsive when throwing it through the S-bends. Makes it more responsive, and for me, I find it handles really well through the twisties and I can throw it around quite easily. So big difference there. That leverage effect does really improve your steering and handling, throwing it through the corners and twisties. So I certainly recommend doing that if that's what you'd like to gain above the standard height on this bike. Next thing to talk about is fuel economy. And you would think maybe putting the stage 1 kit in it might affect your fuel economy. Well, again, I don't know what the standard of fuel economy is like, but on this bike, I've done 300 kilometers before I put fuel in it. The remaining range was 180, so 480 kilometers was the projected completed range by the bike's computer. What's that in American? I'm not sure, but you can Google it and convert it. But 480, if I took it easy, I reckon I could probably stretch it out close to 500, you never know. So 500 kilometers maybe, just cruising only at 100 kilometers an hour on the highway, that's, I think, maybe possible. So fantastic fuel range, the fuel economy is really good on this bike, the power is excellent, the sound is pretty good, and in fact I do wear the loop earplugs. Here's the loop earplugs, we can talk about those as well another day. But yes, a very impressive bike, heap of fun to ride, really good. Oh, one other thing I did do, I got the genuine Harley Davidson, of course want to have be genuine, locking fuel cap. Now of course you spend $32,500 on a bike and you don't even get a locking fuel cap. Go figure. I did also fit the lay down number plate mount kit, again off Amazon. Original taillight's still there, but the lay down number plate, just instead of sticking upright like that, I just don't like the way that looks, so I've laid it back just a little bit, and it's certainly visible from the back, no problem at all. Oh, one more thing. I've got the Arlen Ness grips on here, which feel really good. Nice feel, very grippy. Also still comfortable. Really happy with those. Now, to give you some idea with the quarter fairing, yes, I've got a dash cam on there, and I fitted a 12 volt socket to run auxiliaries just in there. The speed screen, that's the original dash of the speed screen. It's still there, and in fact I've even raised it up to give me some clearance behind the wiring for the 12 volt socket, but it is raised up about roughly 20 mil there, or 3/4 of an inch. But that is the original dash and the shape and height of where the speed screen would have been. But on top of that, we now have this screen, plus we've got it extended out the side. It throws the air out the side, up over, round about my forward height here. My helmet is around about there is where the wind goes, and no buffeting at all, really comfortable. So I certainly recommend the quarter fairing as well. Overall, Lowrider S, brilliant bike, love it for what it's really designed for, but I'm going to push the limits on this bike and do a little bit of soft, easy off-roading on it. Let's call it smooth dirt road, and we'll see how it goes. All those episodes, all coming up probably early next year. So a few months away before I can get into those. I do have other projects I'm working on. But thanks for your patience. Please stay tuned, and we'll be getting more episodes out coming soon. Wow, pretty good. What do you think, piggies? Pretty good? They're not worried by it.